Oh, university, best and worst time of your life. If you're not a new viewer but are returning from my old videos, you might have noticed that I've already done quite a few university videos, in none of which I said almost anything positive about it. Now that might be due to the fact that when I made them I was a freshman in uni myself, so I was pretty much new. My university had the hardest program for freshmen in order to make a selection, and then the other 2 years are not as bad. Now I do find that to be the case, however I was also displeased with other stuff like having to leave my hometown and live in an objectively worse environment where it rained most of the time and other stuff. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into details of what I found hard about going to uni. You can check it out for yourself in these videos. So today, since it is my last year of uni and then I graduate and get a degree, or rather it would be my last year since my school year starts in October and we're not there yet, I have decided to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to get by in university, what you should and should not do. Y'all will learn from my mistakes, and also it feels refreshing talking to people similar to my age instead of making a video about high school, which I have finished 2.5 years ago now. So first things first, friends. You need them. Like it or not, you have to make friends in uni. Even if it's just one friend, you really need that one friend, cause then even if it seems hard, at least they're there to make you laugh. Kind of like high school, but just a bit more serious. And yes, it is actually just a tiny bit more serious here. You're expected to study, not to cheat, and to actually learn something, but that doesn't mean that you can't make fun of the way professor represents things or just crack jokes with your mates. I mean, it surely must not be during the lectures, because come on, you're grown up now and you know it's disrespectful to be loud when somebody's trying to teach, but outside of the class, things don't have to be that serious. If you learn to relax, crack jokes about how you'll fail the class or how some stuff you're being taught is BS, you'll be more relaxed throughout the year. That is why you need friends. Now, I am one to talk because I barely made any friends my first year, but tried to do what one guy did to me on day one, which was basically just ask me if the seat next to me was taken, and then we became friends. He was friends with everyone, but for me he was pretty much like the only guy I talked to for the first 3 months, because I wanted to kind of hate the environment, because I didn't like university. So I guess I just subconsciously didn't want to make too many new friends and wanted to stick with the old ones from high school. But you gotta remember that though it is important to keep your old friends, there is nothing that says that once you make new ones in another town you have to abandon the old ones. No, make time for the new friends and make time for the old ones. Just be sure not to use jokes you used with your high school homies, with your uni homies, at least not the first few months. Cause boy are some people different depending on which part of the country they're from. But another great way of making friends is going on these university events with them, or organizing group skiing vacations and so on. And on those you will really connect. Anyways, enough about that, let's move on to lectures. If you think a lecture is not providing anything useful and you have all the necessary things you can use to study alone at home, don't go to lectures, especially if it's just wasting your time and you're not listening either way and are on the phone doing other stuff. It really ain't that deep. At first you'll find it odd to skip class, but then you'll be like me. If you have enough self-discipline to study, you can skip every single class and still be able to pass, especially if your uni kind of operates like mine, which is that we have lectures which are optional, but then practical stuff which is mandatory. Just go to the mandatory stuff and you'll be fine. Now know that depending on how self-disciplined you are and how hard your education institute is, the results might differ. Listen, what I'm trying to say is don't be too scared to skip. It's better to do that than to waste 3 hours playing Clash of Clans but still being in school instead of just playing some other stuff at home or in a dorm room. But also know that I am not responsible for anything that will happen to you. I'm merely a stick figure on a screen giving some basic advice for your new school year. Next thing is definitely free time and sports. If you do sports, don't drop it because of uni or college. You really don't have to. I haven't heard of a uni so goddamn hard that you wouldn't be able to make way for extracurricular activities. Just don't. Except if you're studying engineering, then you're pretty much cooked. But yeah, same goes for hobbies and free time. What I did, and I would kind of recommend it, I guess, is I used the boring and non-useful lectures as a time to do my hobbies and do sports. So instead of listening to the 3-hour lecture, I would be at practice and then I would just catch up at home depending on the thing that I skip. Obviously, I'm not saying you should skip the hardest of the classes, which kind of leads me to the next point, and that is that you should connect with people who have already been through the first year of your particular university course. That way you can find out which lectures are worth listening to and which are a waste of time, and overall you can just get old tests from them as well as just general advice on how to make it through. But anyways, this was all I wanted to tell you in today's video, and if you enjoyed, be sure to click the like button, subscribe, and click over here for more awesome content like this.